We are back in Bordeaux, Carmela.
Woo!
Yes, actually, we're back in the basement. But once again, we're trying to see if we can find some bargains among the most expensive wines in the world.
Ooh, wouldn't that be nice?
It would be nice. And we're also going to talk about just how you might be able to tell what grapes are in Bordeaux wines when you find them in the store.
Oh my gosh, we're going to be that good?
Yeah, well, I hope so, because it's kind of confusing.
Yeah, I'm already confused.
Yeah, me too. All right, here we go. Hello and welcome to the Wine Pair Podcast. I'm Joe, your sommelier of reasonably priced wine, and this is my wife and my wine pairing partner in crime, Carmela.
Hi there.
And we're the
My God, you can barely get that one out.
We are the Wine Pair. If you're new to our podcast, here's a quick orientation. Each week we explore a different wine, varietal, or blend like Pinot Noir or Sauvignon Blanc or Bordeaux, and dive into what makes it unique and special and worth learning about. And our goal really is to help you expand your wine knowledge in a fun way that normal people can understand.
We're normal.
We are normal. I think we're normal.
I mean, we're hardly normal.
I don't know. We also taste and review 2 to 3 wines under $20 each and share our scores and recommendations so that you can find great wines without breaking the bank.
Nice.
Thank you so much for being here and having some laughs and learning with us. I added that one in, laughs and learning.
Wow.
And we're proud to say that Decanter Magazine calls us fun, irreverent,
Chatty,
and entertaining. Well, Carmela, it's been a minute, but we are back with our second Bordeaux Bargains episode where we explore reasonably priced Bordeaux wines from one of the most expensive and revered wine regions in the world to see if we can find any that are good enough to make it onto our wine list.
Nice.
Yeah, and by the way, we are in Bordeaux, actually, again, the basement. But
I was going to say, wait, we are?
You may
You're
hear the
lying to me.
lawnmower behind us, too, because the guy's mowing the lawn. It's fine.
That's okay. What's wrong with that? You know, everybody's got to mow their lawn.
Now, as a reminder, for those of you who may have forgotten or never knew, Bordeaux is a region in France, so Bordeaux wines can only come from Bordeaux.
Nice.
Okay, and the red wines there, and we are focusing on the red wines today, are generally a blend of what we call the noble grapes, which we talked about in our previous Bordeaux Bargains episode, and we did a mini-sode about it, but just in case you missed those, or just plain forgot what the hell we said, the noble grapes are generally considered to be Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Cabernet Franc, Malbec, and Petit Verdot.
Wow.
So those are the grapes you generally find in a Bordeaux blend.
Okay.
And Bordeauxs are generally blends. But understanding what exactly the grape blend is can be a little tricky.
Right. And everybody likes a blend, it seems.
Well,
I just have a blend.
I don't think everybody likes a blend.
Well, that's a lot of people like to say.
They want the blend. Give me the blend.
I think that's their default. And they're like, I really don't know what I want. I'll have the red blend.
The blend. Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit today.
Okay.
And I want to talk about why I think Bordeaux blends are superior. I can almost say that. Superior to straight Cabernet Sauvignon.
Oh.
Which again is one of the more common blending grapes in a Bordeaux, but not always, because there are some Bordeaux wines that are just Merlot, and we have one of those today, but that's a total side note that we'll get to in a minute. Okay, I was actually surprised to find that I'm starting to kind of like Bordeaux wines, because I generally don't like Cabernet Sauvignon so much.
What's done the trick for you?
Well, I think it's because I'm learning more about them and learning more about the different regions, because we'll talk about this in a minute, but some are more Merlot-based and some are more Cabernet Sauvignon-based. But as I said, I don't really love Cabernet Sauvignon, and sometimes I just, it feels a little lonely when you go out to a restaurant or a bar, and if they have a red wine on the menu, it's probably just going to be a Cabernet, and that makes me feel lonely and sad.
All by himself out there with
Wow.
all the Bordeaux.
Where are you when I'm doing this?
I don't know. I mean, you sounded like you were lonely. So
well, I am because of the Cabernet Sauvignon, and you're not with me, I guess, too.
I guess not.
Anyway,
This is a bad dream. I'm guessing.
I'm hoping it is. I don't know. The main reason, though, Carmela, I dislike a lot of Cabernet Sauvignon is actually the same reason why some people really love it. A few reasons why. Especially when it's super young, it can be super tannic, like sucking on a black tea bag.
Oof.
And it can be overly extracted, meaning that they come across as like super ripe and super fruity, and they're not very subtle.
Oh.
And I also find that they're very often kind of hot tasting,
Wow.
alcohol-y, kind of hot alcohol-y tasting. And then they're often really, really oaky.
Oh.
Like all you can taste is wood.
Oh, boy.
So a lot of Cabernet is grown in California as well. And because California has a hot climate, cabs tend to go to their extreme ends when they're made in California. This is the definition of what we call a punch you in the face wine. That is it. That's a punch you in the face wine.
Wow, I feel like I was just punched. I'm a little, feeling like
drunk.
Seeing stars.
Okay. And that's the reason why I tend to gravitate, and we both tend to gravitate away from California-style Cabernets. And if I have to have one towards...
you force it down
your throat. If they force it down they say, you're going to have to drink a Cabernet Sauvignon, I'm going to say, can I have a Bordeaux blend, please?
Okay.
Because
I will remember that.
Well, and because in Bordeaux, the wine is going to be more subtle and it's going to be more balanced and it's going to punch you in the face just a little bit less.
Ooh.
Because, again, they're blended.
A soft punch?
Kind of like a gentle punch.
Oh, I mean that is way better, a gentle punch.
If I'm going to get punched in the face, I'd rather it be a little more gentle.
Are you sure?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Actually, maybe you just want to have it out.
It's knocked out of you.
I don't know.
I don't know.
And one of the reasons why is that Bordeaux is just not as hot of an area as California, so the style of wine is going to be a little bit different. And I just kind of feel like California winemakers, if you get this analogy or this reference, they kind of turn everything up to 11. It just like everything. Mm-hmm. It's like, can we make it as big and bold and tannic and fruity and oaky and whatever as we can and just like, again, kind of punch you in the face. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to help you see that the super oaky, fill up your mouth, punch you in the face with wood and smoke and overripe grape juice Cabernet Sauvignon may not actually be the best expression of the wine. How about that?
Let's find out.
And that maybe the best expression of Cabernet Sauvignon is not as a varietal on its own, but maybe the way that the people who have been making it for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years do it as a carefully crafted blend.
Oh.
How about that?
Okay, let's find out.
And that maybe if you try a well-balanced and blended Bordeaux wine, you may find that there are nuances to the wine that are pleasant, like me, and subtle, like me, and to be savored, like me.
Oh, no.
Yes.
No.
Yes,
okay.
Even when it's inexpensive. So today we have 2 reasonably priced Bordeaux blends to try and rate, and we're going to spend a little bit of time trying to demystify Bordeaux wines a bit so you can understand what grapes might actually be in the blend, because again, frankly, that's kind of, for me, the most confusing part of it all. But first...
you got to do our shameless plug.
That's right. So thank you for listening to us and for supporting our show. And if you haven't had a chance to do so yet, now would be the perfect time to follow or subscribe to our podcast. And we want to thank you all who have done that already. And another great way to support us is to leave a nice reading and review on our website or on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or other podcast app so we can grow our listeners. And by the way, I just want to say, just like we're on a lot of places, YouTube, whatever. So today, somebody left a comment on the YouTube channel about our German sparkling wine episode that I thought was kind of funny. They said that the beginning of the episode came across as juvenile. So if you've been listening to us for a while, you know that that's kind of our shtick. But the episode is called Let's Talk About Sekt, which is the German name for sparkling wine.
It's a little juvenile.
That's our thing.
I mean, we're not bad at that.
So if you want some fun and if you want some silliness... Are you feeling silly?
So silly, honey.
While you're still learning, then this is the podcast for you. How about that?
I love it.
The teacher you always wanted. Someone that you could, you thought was fun, but also taught you stuff.
Relatable.
Yeah.
And I know. I'm on board.
I know you are, because you're part of the Wine Pair podcast.
Sitting across from
you have to be on board.
Wait.
Although sometimes she doesn't want to be on board. I'm telling you. There are times. Okay, you can also follow us and see pictures of the wines we're tasting and trying today and weird AI pictures I like to make on Instagram at the Wine Pair Podcast. And you can contact us on our website, thewinepairpodcast.com. And you can sign up for our email newsletter there, which is coming out on the 1st. And by the way, if you don't sign up in time, it's okay. Just send me an email at joe@thewinepairpodcast.com and I will send it to you. And we want to make content you care about and like, so send us a note and tell us what wines you want us to try or do episodes about, or just tell us what you think about the show and what you're thinking. How about that? And so again, in our newsletter that's coming out, we generally have a Q&A section, but we didn't have a lot of questions this month, but we had a lot of comments and emails and notes and stuff from our listeners. So we're going to do a shout out in the newsletter about that.
Perfect.
I'm just name some people who've been reaching out and doing fun stuff with us.
Mm-hmm.
And as we do every week, we'll tell you someone we think you should recommend the Wine Pair podcast to so we can keep growing our listeners. And this week, we want you to recommend us to anyone who claims they love Cabernet Sauvignon but has never had a Bordeaux wine.
What?
Because that would mean they're what? A phony. No, not a phony.
Oh,
They're just, they haven't learned yet. They haven't exposed
Well, they might
themselves.
be interested, too. They might be something that's interesting to them.
Bordeaux curious.
Tap into
perhaps.
them.
Tap them. Let them know.
On the shoulder.
That's right.
Gently.
Hey, have you
Not
tried a
punch you in
Bordeaux?
the
I see you
face.
drinking. So this is what you say. I see you drinking a Cabernet Sauvignon.
And then punch them.
And then you punch them gently in the
Gently.
face and you say, have you ever had a Bordeaux? And if they say no, then you punch them with our website. With our...
Right. We're not asking you.
talk.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know.
Yeah, no, we're not asking you actually to be violent or harassing.
No, don't punch
No.
anybody. We're not
We're just-
endorsing
yeah,
that. We're
not
not
at all.
endorsing that.
No.
Okay, Carmela, let's talk a little bit about how the you figure out what's in your Bordeaux wine.
Let's.
Okay, so in a future episode, because we'll do more of these, we'll talk about what first through fifth growths are and why that matters. Those are often referred to as crus, but that's for another time. Now, we mentioned this in our previous Bordeaux episode, but in Bordeaux, there is a large river that runs through the region, and the wines are classified most often by how they are divided between the left bank or the right bank of the river, based on which side they're on, right? Seems obvious. Because the fact that they are on the right or left bank actually makes them pretty different for a couple of reasons. So first, right bank red wines are more Merlot focused, with Merlot generally making up more than 60% of the grapes on that side of the river, and they're blended with Cabernet Franc most often. Now, the left bank red wines are more Cabernet Sauvignon heavy, and they have blends usually of several of the noble grapes.
And so they're going to tell you this on the bottle?
No, this is the whole point, is they don't tell you this on the bottle, which is what makes it really hard.
Right. Sometimes they just say blend.
Well, no, French wines will say nothing. French wines will just say Bordeaux, and then they'll tell you where they're from, and that's the key. And the hard part about it is that you kind of just got to memorize it. So I'm going to test you right now. No.
Solving problems,
Yeah.
Joe.
So basically, I'm going to go through this list, but it's probably best if you just go to our show notes. Did you know we have show notes?
I know that now.
Okay.
Yep.
So you just go to our show notes. We have some articles, all of this list of wines, but you kind of just got to memorize it a little bit. So the left bank of Bordeaux are areas like Medoc, Haut-Medoc, Listrade-Medoc, Moulins-en-Medoc, Pessac-Léognan, Grabs, Sauterne, and Barsac. Okay, and then within Medoc are some very famous areas like Saint-Estèphe, Pauliac, Saint-Julien, and Margaux. So again, you don't have to memorize it. Go to our show notes. But these are what you're gonna have
I need
to
a little cheat sheet.
Yeah, if you're seriously, you can bring along our show notes with you. I'm not kidding. To this grocery store or whatever store you go to.
On your phone or something.
Yeah, on your phone. Yeah, don't bring your computer with you. But yeah, bring
or a piece of paper.
No, you can print it out if you wanted to, but that's how you'll know if it's a left bank. Okay. Now, a right bank, you're going to have areas like Saint-Emilion, Pomerol, Casson-Fransac, Côte de Blé, Côte de Bourg, Côte de Bordeaux, Castillon, Côte de Bordeaux, and Fransac.
My goodness.
Again, repeat them now.
Just for ditto.
Okay,
Ditto. How about
there you
that?
go. But again, you're probably just going to have to memorize them. But that really is kind of the only way that you're going to know.
Do you have it memorized?
No, I do not.
Okay.
But you kind of have to start putting them in your memory bank. Now, I've started to know that like Pomerol, Saint-Emilion, those are right bank wines, and we kind of gravitate more towards right bank wines. That's fine. So here's some other thoughts for you. If you like a Cabernet, I do think you owe it to yourself to try left bank Bordeaux wines just to understand the roots of the wine.
I mean, do people say that? Are you a left banker or a right banker?
I don't know. I don't know. I've never been asked myself.
Are you a left or right?
Yeah. Are you a
banker?
left? Are you on the left side or the right side? That could
Of the
get into a
bank.
lot. That could be.
I know.
You can get a lot of trouble for that.
Yeah.
Don't go there.
No,
don't
maybe
go
we
there.
shouldn't.
Maybe just say,
Okay.
what bank do you prefer?
Oh boy,
Okay.
Chase Bank, U.S. Bank. No,
Yeah, no,
okay.
not that. Anyway, so, but again, the roots of the wine, Cabernet Sauvignon, come from Bordeaux, and it is very, 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 very rare to find a wine in Bordeaux that is just a Cabernet Sauvignon. French winemakers, they just really don't do it. And also the left bank wines are supposed to be, or the left bank soils are supposed to be very gravelly, which is supposed to be really good for Cabernet Sauvignon. So, and again, it's a different climate than California wines. It's just going to be a different experience. But I think if you got a decent Cabernet Sauvignon from California and a decent Bordeaux and from the left bank, and you put them side by side, that's a really good way to learn. what do I like? What don't I like? Why do I, kind of get the essence of the wine. You should see her face right now. She is looking at me.
I'm trying to imagine you with
crazy.
a glass of each. And
I would totally
sip,
do it.
Sip,
I would totally
sip,
do that.
Sip. Oh, I better try another glass. Sip,
boy.
sip.
Oh, boy.
That could be how it goes.
Ugh, this is gone off the rails. Okay, but if you like Cabernet Sauvignon, I would suggest doing that. And if you don't like Cabernet Sauvignon, I would suggest you do it, just again to learn, and maybe you find that you kind of like those better than just a plain Cabernet Sauvignon. And then if you're a Merlot fan, I would do the same thing. Get a Merlot from the Americas and taste it side by side with like a Right Bank wine, which again is going to be more Merlot focused. And Right Bank has more clay soils, and that's supposed to be better for Merlot. So again, if you prefer more muscular wines like me, kind of more muscular wines, you want the Left Bank wines. If you want softer wines like Carmela, you want the Right Bank wines.
Hey.
Punch you in the face, Left Bank. Hit you with a pillow, Right Bank.
Okay.
What are some other analogies we can come up with?
Oh, you're doing it all.
Okay.
Right now I'm just puzzled by this whole soft versus muscular. What made you the muscular one, huh?
Are you kidding? Isn't it obvious? Actually, it's actually totally not obvious.
No.
And Carmela is actually much more muscular. So actually, we should have switched that around. If you want muscular, you want the Left Bank like Carmela. If you want soft like Joe.
Left. We're going to get very confused here.
But anyway, you may find that some of these wines are a little bit cost prohibitive, as we've talked about, because Bordeaux wines are expensive. So that's why we're doing these Bordeaux Bargain episodes. And what we're trying to do is find good representations of these Bordeaux wines in a price range that's reasonable. So today we have one Left Bank wine and we have one Right Bank wine. So that's kind of fun too, to just try the different ones. Mm-hmm. And one thing, we've said this a lot, but your palate may be very different from ours. Again, we tend to like more subtle wines, etc. If you like really muscular, punchy in the face wines, that's fine. You may find that your taste in wines is just different from ours. So when you get a review, when you hear our reviews or our ratings or our tastings, you may say, oh, they didn't like it, I'm probably going to like it. And that's fine. That's fine. And then again, in future episodes, we'll talk about things like cru designations and all that kind of stuff. But let's talk about the wines that we chose for today. What do you say, Carmela?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's do it. So usually the wines we use in our podcast are under $20, but one of these wines is just a touch over $20.
Oh, wow.
And I just think we're going to have to do that from time to time, especially when we're looking for wines in more expensive areas like Bordeaux or more expensive wines like Pinot Noir. It's very difficult to find good ones that are going to be under $20. It's just the reality.
Where'd you get these wines?
Well, that is an excellent question because I was going to say that they both should be relatively easy to find because I bought one of them on wine.com and one of them at Costco. And I call out Costco specifically because I thought that I had bought 2 Bordeaux blends on wine.com. But it turns out one of the wines, when I did the search on Bordeaux, and I should have known this but I hadn't memorized my places yet, one of the wines is actually from a town called Bergerac, which is close to, but not technically in Bordeaux. So I was a little bit frustrated, but we were going to Costco, and I thought, I bet they're going to have a reasonably priced Bordeaux at Costco. And guess what, Carmela?
They did.
They did.
Go Costco.
So that's what we're drinking tonight. And I'll save that Bergerac for an episode when we do a review of Bordeaux style blends. So wines that are based on the Bordeaux blending, but are not from Bordeaux. And we'll do one from California. Maybe we'll do one from another area of the world just to kind of get that sense of it.
Okay.
But the first wine is our Right Bank wine. It's called Château Bonesperance. And we have the 2021 vintage. And this wine is not a blend. It is 100% Merlot, which again is not totally typical, but it's also not totally atypical for a Right Bank Bordeaux. Okay. And it's one of the reasons why, again, it can be super tricky to understand what's in a Bordeaux unless you start learning a little bit more about the regions and the names. Because how would you wouldn't just guess right off the bat that a wine would be 100% Merlot when it's a Bordeaux blend, right? Or a Bordeaux wine. I couldn't find out a ton about this wine, but here's a few fun facts. You ready for some fun facts?
I love fun facts.
So it's located in an area called Cabrera and Gironde, and they focus on Merlot-based wines because of their clay-based soils. Soils. They're clay-based soils. I don't know what that means. And they evidently use traditional winemaking techniques and slow fermentation, which I had to look up because I don't know what slow fermentation is. So here's what slow fermentation is. And we're not going to go into the whole thing, just a little bit.
Okay.
There's some winemakers prefer slow fermentation because it's supposed to help the wine hold on to its natural aromas and flavors better. And there's a number of things which can lead to a slow fermentation, but a couple of key ones are lowering the temperature of the wine when you're doing the fermentation, and then what type of yeast you use and how much the yeast can tolerate the amount of sugar that's in the wine. So those are, but I'm not going to go into a ton. We've got some reference to it in our show notes, so you can look at that if you want more information. There's links there. And then these guys have been making wine for over 200 years, and Wilfred Wong from wine.com gave this wine a 90 rating. So there you go. Yeah.
Nice.
So again, the second one is the one we got from Costco, and it's called Clos Marsalette Pessac-Léognan, which is one of the towns or regions on the Left Bank.
Okay.
And this is the 2019 vintage. This wine has gotten a lot of accolades. It's gotten 93 ratings, Carmela, from Wine Spectator, Vinnius, Jeb Dunnock, and the Wine Advocate. And it got high ratings from other reviewers like our friends at Decanter and Sucky James Suckling. But like a lot of high ratings. And it was more than $20, but not a lot more than $20. And we got it at Costco. So, you know, that's great. And this one is a blend of 50% Merlot, 49% Cabernet Sauvignon. So even though it's Left Bank, it's slightly more Merlot, but it's really a 50-50. And then 1% Cabernet Franc. So they just were like, let's put a little Cabernet Franc.
Right, just to mix it up.
Yeah, we'll make it interesting for the people.
Right.
And then I was able to find a tech sheet, which I did also put in the show notes, but it's kind of confusing. So this is what they say. It looks like they aged the wine in new oak barrels. They say 35% on the lees for 12 months. But I don't know what the 35% refers to. Is it how much of the wine ages in oak? Is it how much of the oak is new French? I don't know. They just said...
You can find out.
No, they just said 35...
You could just call them up.
Well, I tried. I
You just dialed them up.
Well, I tried to DM them on Instagram.
But they wouldn't. You really?
No.
Oh.
No, in fact, I don't know that these guys actually have an Instagram, which is kind of, funny, whatever. But I think that's enough, Carmela. I think we should start drinking.
Sounds good to me.
So we're going to take a quick break and be right back. And if you have a Bordeaux or a Bordeaux style blend or a Cabernet Sauvignon or a Merlot, then for God's sake, drink along with us. And then you won't mind so much if you do that we're juvenile. Okay?
Oh, boy.
We're juvenile.
Nobody, one person.
No.
We're juvenile. This is not a juvenile episode.
No.
That one was.
This is a very mature episode, I feel
think
like.
so.
It's kind of...
You've grown up.
I'm so proud of myself. Okay, we'll be right back. Okay, we are back and we're ready to try our first wine. This is the Château Bonesperance. It's from Bordeaux, France. It's a 2021, $16.99 at wine.com. It's only 12% alcohol, which really is actually quite low, I think, for a Bordeaux red wine. It's 100% Merlot, and Wilfred Wong gave it a 90. And before we go into what you're smelling, the one thing I did notice right off the bat was it's not as dark in color. Like sometimes
it's pretty light.
Yeah, sometimes a Merlot can be pretty inky, but this is like it almost. When it was in the light, when I was pouring it, almost looked a little Pinot Noir-like. So what do you think you're smelling?
Well, I definitely am getting fruit on this one. Some good cherry, really rich cherry. I think there's a little bit of like wood or smoke. Maybe a little more like, or even like matchstick.
Yeah.
What about you?
No, I'm totally getting those. And maybe it's in my head because they're supposed to be clay soils, but I kind of smell a little clay or dirt. But I'm with you. It's funny. It almost smells a little Pinot-like. It's not got that bright Pinot smell, but it's definitely got like kind of a cherry smell to it.
It does. It's nice. The fruit is definitely coming through.
Yeah.
For sure.
And when you swirl it around, you almost get a little herb or tree, like almost like a pine tree. Do that. See if you get a little pine tree on it.
It also does smell.
You're not going to do it, are you?
I don't know. I'm just thinking about I'm sure that we will be editing it out, but I was coughing after I took a nice big whiff. I started barking like a dog.
No, but why do you think that was?
I think it was a little hot. It's a little
You know
alcohol-y.
what? I think you're right. I think it does have a little heat on it. A little hot. It's a 2021, so it's a little young. But anyway, so let's taste it and see what we think. Yeah, you know what? Now that maybe it's in my head, but I do think it kind of tastes a little hot.
Yeah, but it's almost I mean, you can almost taste a little bit of that clay or rock, too, you were talking about.
I think so, too. It doesn't have as much fruit as I was expecting.
No.
It's pretty tart, almost.
Yes, it is. Like a tart cherry.
Which, again, it's kind of reminding me a little bit of a Pinot Noir in a weird way.
Yeah, but not as smooth.
No, and it's richer, I think, than a Pinot usually is. But it's a little bit astringent, which I know I said it was richer, but it's a little bit astringent, too. It's a little alcohol-y.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and it's funny because it smelled, when I smelled it, it was almost like sweet cherry candy to me, some sort of like hard candy. But I'm getting very tart cherry on this.
I'm getting a lot of tannin on it. Ton of tannin on it, too. It doesn't have a super clean finish, but it's got a lot of tannin. I almost wonder if it's got a little bit of like dark chocolate on it too, maybe?
Or cacao?
A little cacao. I think it might have a little dark chocolate.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think so, maybe.
Any spicy notes?
I mean, a little bit of pepper, more of like I'm not really getting
black pepper?
Yeah, like a black pepper rather than any type of, I don't know. Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like it's got a little spice on it. I'm going to be honest. I think this is probably a good wine, but I think it's a little
too young. I think it is. It's just a baby.
It's a baby. It's because the astringent nature of it, compared to the smell, makes me feel like it just needs a little bit more time in the bottle. So I bet if we gave it a couple more years, it would really smooth and mellow out. So I think I'm going to take that into account. Well, yes, but I'm also going to take it into account when I give it a rating.
Okay. What are you going to eat with this wine?
Well, it's funny. I was going to say it is a red meat wine, but I almost feel like it is kind of maybe a poultry wine as well.
Oh,
like okay. I could see it with
pork.
Yeah, even. I was just going to say. I bet you're going to go to pork.
Like a pork tenderloin.
But it's a meat. I mean, it's a meat wine. It's a kind of a stewy kind of wine. Maybe it's
I agree.
A little.
It's kind of fall-like.
Yeah, it's a little fall. I was going to say it's a little fall. Some of the spiciness in it makes it feel a little fall-like, and we're not there yet. Still got some time left in summer, a few more days, but we are getting to fall.
Yes.
Any other foods?
I think you're right on. I do think it's versatile in the sense that you could do the other white meat.
The other white meat. I agree.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to rate this. And as a reminder on a rating scale, we rate on a scale of 1 to 10, where 7 and above means that we'd buy it. And a 4 and below means we're going to probably pour it down the sink. And a 5 or 6 means menza. It's okay. We're going to drink it. We'll probably finish it, but we're probably not going to buy it. So what rating would you give this wine?
I'm going to give it a 6.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised you're giving it that high of a rating.
Oh,
I just
really?
don't.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm never going to buy this, and I would finish it. It's not offensive. It's nothing, but I wouldn't really even buy it for someone else. I'm not sure that we'd serve it even.
Well, so this is what I think. I think if it were maybe a couple years older, I might serve it. Oh. So I'm going to give it a 7. If we gave halves, because we don't do halvesies. If we gave halvesies.
But we don't.
I know. But if we did.
We don't.
But if we did, I would give it a 7.5. But I can't.
We can't.
I'm not going to do that.
No.
Because I can't do that.
You might get fired.
Yeah. Can I fire you?
It would be a 5-minute long podcast.
Yeah. Be like, we're drinking wine. There it is.
Ooh,
done.
Yeah. Do you like it?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Go.
Okay.
No, I'm going to give it a 7. I think I could, maybe if it was a few years older, I could give it an 8, but I'm giving it a strong.
It's a little juvenile.
It's a little juvenile, like us. Okay. We're going to take a break and we're going to try our last wine. Okay, we are back and we are ready to try our second wine. This is the Clos Marsalette Pessac-Léognan. It's from Bordeaux, France. It is 2019. It was $22.99. So
breaking the bank.
Breaking the bank. We got it at Costco, but so we went a little bit over, but that's okay. 14.5% alcohol. So this is a much higher alcohol wine than the last one, which was only 12. Mm-hmm. And this is 50% Merlot, 49% Cabernet Sauvignon, 1% Cabernet Franc. And again, tons of 93 ratings. Jeb Dunnock, Wine Spectator, Vinous, Wine Advocate, and Decanter gave it a 92. And the first thing I'll just mention before we say what we're smelling is so much of a darker wine. I mean, this is an inky, dark, like you can tell, it's just a rich looking wine. Yeah. This is more of a classic, what I would think like a Cabernet or even a Merlot and like a Bordeaux would look like. But what are you smelling?
Well, I'm kind of getting, I feel like at first whiff, I didn't love it. I wasn't loving it, but I was getting a little more fruity. First off, I was getting some vegetable kind of tomato,
It's very
like a
earthy.
sweet tomato. Yeah, okay.
I'm with you.
Yeah, so it's not doesn't actually have the same sweetness behind the first one.
No, it's I mean, like you can kind of tell it smells like a powerful wine. I'm
Yes.
getting black fruit. You know,
like what do you think? Blackberry?
yeah, like a blackberry or a black plum, something black, like it's a black fruit. It's kind of a deep berry.
Okay, rich, kind of rich then for you.
And a lot of wood, a lot of smoke, maybe some leather as well.
It's funny because I'm getting, I'm getting some of that, but I'm just the earthy vegetable, like I said, almost like a stewed tomato.
I was getting a little tomato too, and when you swirl it, it smells like asparagus.
Yeah, it's not the greatest smelling wine. The other one smelled nicer. We'll see what it is.
You know, the other thing, this is the kind of wine that our youngest would call, it smells grapey. It smells like wine.
Yeah.
It smells like wine.
Yeah, kind of like I don't know, like a jug of wine.
Yeah. So, but
you
let's
know, like the house blend.
The house blend. Let's try it and see what we think. It's actually pretty good wine.
Oh, it tastes nice. Better than the smell.
Super tannic. Like
Yes.
really tannic.
A lot for me, but it's nice.
It's juicy. It's very juicy and jammy. But it's not like, I would not say it's a strong, bold wine, and it's got a good mouthfeel, but it is not a punch you in the face wine.
I wouldn't say that either.
No, to me, it's got the hallmarks, not a Hallmark card, but the hallmarks.
Say it with Hallmark.
It's got the hallmarks of a Cabernet Sauvignon, that like muscular, strong, but it's got the Merlot is kind of, tamping it down, smoothing it out, making it a little bit rounder. And this to me is the perfect example of try a really good Cabernet Sauvignon side by side with a good Bordeaux from the Left Bank, and you'll kind of notice what the differences are. And if you don't like Cabernet like us, I think this is the kind of wine that we would more gravitate towards, because it's got the nice parts of the Cabernet without all of the harsh stuff that we don't like as much.
It actually, too, I'm thinking about what I'm tasting here, has like a hint of rhubarb. Like
It totally
rhubarb,
does.
I don't know where, like I'm thinking of a strawberry rhubarb pie, but that rhubarb sort of balances out the real extra sweetness of the strawberry.
I'm with you. I'm getting that too. And I kind of maybe do get a little strawberry. There's a little spice on it, like pepperiness. And I'm getting black currant. There's that kind of dark fruit with the kind of tang of the currant.
Now, what about food with this?
I mean, it's a red meat wine. Yeah. I mean, this is like, get a medium rare filet mignon and you're going to be super happy. Yeah. Like this is a steak wine.
Right.
It's a big stew wine. Like this is a hearty meal wine. This is the kind of wine I think your dad would like.
How about ribs?
Yeah, totally. You could do
ribs.
Barbecue would be probably, and I don't mean grilling, I mean barbecuing. Like real barbecue, long, low and slow. That's right. It's a pretty good wine.
It's nice. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, for us not really liking, Cabernet, again, this is 50% Merlot and 49% Cabernet Sauvignon, and then a little bit of Cabernet Franc.
Ah, that 1%. What are you going to rate it?
I think it's a nice wine. Okay. I'm probably overrating it, but I'm going to give it an 8, actually. Wow. I think it's a pretty good wine. Like for the price, it's a pretty, like, to me, this is the kind of wine that you would bring to a dinner party to try, for people who like red wine, but like they're kind of all over the board about what kind of red wine they like, because it's rich and it's bold, but it's not like punch you in the face, but it's also not the super softness of the Pinot Noir. Like it's a well-balanced, this is a nicely balanced wine.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely it's a little more intensity of a Pinot than a Pinot. Like it's not quite as smooth.
No, 100% more intense.
Yeah. So it's definitely like, wow. I mean, I feel like kind of like a cocktail glass of wine too.
It is.
You could just drink it.
Have
like, this would be your, drink for the happy hour.
But it can
be more elegant.
It's a nicer wine. This is a nice wine to have in that way. What are you going to give it?
I think I'll give it a 7.
Yeah,
I will buy it. I will drink it.
Nice.
I mean, I would buy it. Again, it's not really what I typically gravitate towards, but It's a nice wine.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, well, let's. Which of these wines are going to finish tonight,
Oh,
Carmela?
for sure, number 2.
The
What is it?
Clos
Clos
Marsalette. Yeah, it's good. And again, like I got it at Costco, so it's available. It's, and it's great ratings. So it's good wine. And I think
anywhere else, it might be more expensive, though.
Oh, yeah, I think so. And also, for a Bordeaux bargain, like $23 for a Bordeaux wine of this quality, I think that's a pretty good price. Okay, let's talk about the taste profiles expected from Bordeaux wine. Wine Folly says Left Bank, which again are the Cabernet blends, lots of tannin, snappy acidity and flavors of blackberry and cassis. Cassis is blackcurrant, leather, smoke, toast, and herbal notes. We were getting a lot of that.
Toast, like burnt toast, I can kind of see.
But we were getting leather, we were getting smoke, we were getting herbal notes. The Right Bank, which is Merlot focused, silkier wines with ageability, softer, smoother tannins, ripe fruit flavors, hints of chocolate, and meatiness.
Oh, nice job.
So the Château Bonesperance, the winery says, effortlessly enjoyable Bordeaux, berry fruits, inviting nose mixing red fruits, palate is fresh and balanced with lively plums, red cherry, and subtle warm spice notes. I think we got some of that. Wilfred Wong says, aromas and flavors of ripe blackberries, hints of cassis, and savory spicy notes. I didn't get as much cassis on that one. I got it on this one. But the spicy, we were getting some pepper and some of that stuff. The Clos Marsalette, Jeb Dunnock says, ripe, sexy, medium to full-bodied.
Sexy?
Aromas and flavors of black currants.
Okay,
tobacco leaf, damp earth, and chocolate. Herbal edge. Ripe tannins. He said, count me as a fan. Drink this puppy anytime and over the coming 2 decades. So he thinks it can age. But puppy, call that a puppy.
Oh, my.
Wine inspector said lush cassis. Again, blackcurrant. Mulled plum. That's interesting. And boysenberry compote.
Oh.
Mineral streak, juniper, savory hints. And Vinia said black cherry, plum, chocolate, spice, and licorice. Flesh out this gorgeous, racy Pessac-Léognan.
Wow.
So there you go. We did okay.
I think so.
Yeah, I think we got a lot of kind of those flavors and nuances and all that kind of stuff. And again,
it's a good one.
Well, I think what was fun about this was a couple of things. I mean, I found it fun. First of all, first of all, 2 Bordeaux wines, one from the Right Bank, one from the Left Bank. One's all Merlot, one's a mix of Merlot, Cabernet. And I think a good, you can tell the difference, good, and good price. And I think it's kind of fun to taste them side by side.
For sure.
So there we go. What do you think? More Bordeaux Bargains? Are we going to do more in the future?
I think so.
Hell yeah.
I think we're down.
Okay, here we go. Carmela, it's time for us to go. But before we do, we want to thank you very much for listening to us. And if you haven't done so yet, now would be the perfect time to subscribe to or follow our podcast and leave us a nice rating and review so we can grow our listeners. And again, we love to hear from you. So reach out to us. Tell us about wines you've been drinking or wines you'd like us to taste and review. And you can leave a message for us on our website, thewinepairpodcast.com. You can join our email newsletter there. And again, if you missed the latest newsletter, just email me and I'll send it to you at joe@thewinepairpodcast.com. And with that, we're going to sign off. So thank you once again, and we'll see you next time. And as we like to say, life is short. Also stop drinking shitty merde wines. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Au revoir.
And the happy end.